What is happening in the sky today is an activation, an alignment that will only repeat in more than 100 years. Uranus, the Great Awakener, and Neptune, the Cosmic Dreamer, form an exact sextile, officially activating a visionary portal to the future. And pay attention, this is not a 24-hour energy. Today, the door opens. The crossing lasts for months, and the chance to tune into the next era of human consciousness is now. This is not a common astrological transit that affects our mood for a few days. It is a historic turning point, a collective call that echoes in the depths of our soul and that will define the spirit of our era, just as similar alignments defined the 1960s. It is the universe-changing seasons, introducing a new chapter for humanity, a chapter focused on the fusion of radical innovation in communication and thought, Uranus in Gemini, with pioneering and courageous spirituality, Neptune in Aries. You may feel this as a subtle restlessness, a growing sense that the old ways of living, working, and relating no longer make sense, that they are obsolete. You may feel it as an influx of strange dreams, of visionary ideas that seem to come out of nowhere and that challenge your logic. You may feel a desire to connect with communities that share a vision of a more human and conscious future. If this is happening, know that it is not your imagination. It is your soul responding to this new and rarefied frequency that is beginning to bathe the planet. It is the future whispering in your present. The journey through this portal requires a new kind of map, one that is not read with the logical mind, but with intuition and the heart. The invitation of this energy is not for you to understand the future, but for you to feel and co-create it. The invitation is to become a visionary in your own life. The architecture of this portal will be revealed to you not through explanations, but through experiences. Its impact will be felt on a collective and individual level. And the practices to anchor this visionary energy will call you to action, transforming potential into reality. History is being written. The pen is in your hand. To comprehend the magnitude of the portal that is opening, it is not enough to feel its effects. We need to understand its architects. The forces that are shaping this new frequency are not fleeting. They are two of the slowest and most powerful planets in our solar system, Uranus and Neptune, the giants of generational change. Their harmonious dance in the sky is rare, and its echoes resonate not for days, but for decades, defining the spirit of an era. The first architect is Uranus, transiting through the air sign of Gemini. Uranus is the Great Awakener, the revolutionary, the bolt of insight that shatters old and stagnant structures to make way for the future. Its energy is electric, unpredictable, and radically liberating. In Gemini, the sign that governs our mind, communication, information, learning, and networks, Uranus's mission is clear: to revolutionize how we think, learn, and communicate. It is here to shock us out of our mental comfort zone, to free us from false information, to introduce genius and disruptive ideas into the collective consciousness, and to force us to question our own thought processes. We see its influence in the acceleration of artificial intelligence, in the way social media redefines truth, and in the disruption of traditional education models. The second architect is Neptune, transiting through the fire sign of Aries. Neptune is the great unifier, the cosmic dreamer, the planet of spirituality, compassion, and universal consciousness. Its energy is subtle, dissolving, and deeply mystical. In Aries, the sign of the eye, of initiative, of courage, and of new beginnings, Neptune becomes the courageous dreamer, the spiritual pioneer. Its energy is not passive, it is active. Its mission is to inspire us to have the courage to to initiate a new spiritual path, to fight for an ideal, to be the pioneers of a new form of faith and connection with the divine, even if it means walking alone. It is the energy that inspires new spiritual leaders, movements born from the courage of an individual and the search for a purpose that gives a heroic meaning to our existence. What happens when these two forces, the information revolution, Uranus in Gemini, and spiritual courage, Neptune in Aries, unite in a sextile, an aspect of easy flow and opportunity? A powerful synergy occurs, a generational alchemy. The radical innovation of Uranus gains the pioneering courage of Neptune, and our quest for a new spiritual beginning, Neptune in Aries, gains the ideas, the words, and the connections, Uranus in Gemini, to manifest in the real world. It is the ignition of new conversations, new ideas, and new spiritual movements. It is the opportunity to use new communication technologies, not for distraction, but to spread a message of awakening and courage. To understand the power of this, we need to look at history. The last time a major aspect between Uranus and Neptune was a dominant force in the sky was during the 1960s. It was an era that, like ours, was marked by immense social upheaval, but also by an explosion of consciousness. It was the birth of the counterculture, of new ways of our thinking, Gemini, and of a new and courageous expression of the self, Aries. It was humanity questioning rigid structures in the name of an ideal of freedom. What we are living now is not a repetition, but the next chapter of that same story. It is an echo of that call, but on a new level of evolution, with new tools and new challenges. The portal that opens today is an invitation to actively participate in this next chapter. It is an opportunity to use new ideas and communication to initiate movements of change, to redefine our concept of courage, moving away from aggression and towards the courage to have faith in an ideal, and to awaken to the reality that our individual evolution is intrinsically linked to the evolution of the entire planet. The activation of this portal today is not just an event. It is the beginning of a mandate, a call for the visionaries, the artists, the healers, the innovators, a call for you. A generational alignment, like the sextile between Uranus and Neptune, does not operate in a subtle or isolated manner. It is like a new cosmic radio station that begins to broadcast a frequency that gradually alters the entire soundscape of the planet. Its impact is twofold. It triggers a profound transformation in the collective consciousness, in the world out there, and at the same time, it activates a recalibration in your inner world, in your life, in here. Understanding these two manifestations is crucial to consciously tune into the wave, instead of just being moved by it. First, let's analyze the collective impact. This transit is a catalyst for a global awakening of consciousness. The harmonious alliance between the radical innovation of Uranus and the pioneering spirituality of Neptune inspires the birth of new social movements, new art forms, and a redefinition of what we value as humanity. We see its influence in the growing fusion of technology with spirituality, the use of new networks and communication platforms to disseminate revolutionary ideas, the exploration of consciousness through virtual reality, science beginning to investigate phenomena that were once considered purely mystical. We see its echo in the call for a new form of leadership, one that is technologically innovative and that promotes new and courageous ways of thinking, and that is more pioneering and authentic in its ideals. This alignment also inspires new forms of art and expression. Art ceases to be merely aesthetic and becomes a vehicle for healing and spiritual awakening. Music, cinema, literature, everything is infused with a more pioneering, more courageous quality. more focused on initiating new movements and reminding us of our individual strength to create change. It is a period that favors the visionaries, the idealists, those who dare to dream of a different future and to use the tools of the present to build it. This is the wave that is changing the world. But how does this immense collective wave translate into your personal and intimate life? How do you know that you are tuning in to this new frequency? The individual impact manifests through a series of symptoms of awakening, which may be subtle at first, but become increasingly undeniable. The first and most common is a profound change in your dream life. Your dreams become more vivid, more lucid, more charged with symbolic meaning, and at times almost prophetic. The energy of dreams is now illuminated with flashes of insight. You may wake up with the feeling of having received a lesson or a message during sleep. You may dream of solutions to problems that plague you in your waking life, or have glimpses of potential futures. These are not random dreams. They are your subconscious processing the new frequency, communicating with you in a more direct way. Keeping a dream journal during this period is an invaluable tool of power. The second symptom is an increase in your intuition and the occurrence of sudden downloads. You are in the middle of your day, doing a routine task, and suddenly an idea, a solution, a sentence, an image, a melody falls into your mind, coming from nowhere, already complete and charged with a clarity that gives you chills. These are the Uranus downloads. Because your mind is more attuned to the spiritual energy, you become a more potent antenna to receive these transmissions of genius. The challenge is to honor these insights, to write them down, to take them seriously, even if your logical mind cannot trace their origin. The third symptom is a growing sense of being part of something bigger. The spiritual energy of this transit does not dissolve the ego, but infuses it with a greater purpose, with a pioneering courage. You may begin to feel a wave of inspiration to defend an ideal, to initiate a movement, to be the voice of a cause. The sense of separation diminishes, and with this comes a deep desire to connect with people who share your worldview, to find your soul tribe. You may suddenly feel out of place in your old social circles because your frequency no longer matches theirs. This discomfort is a positive sign. It is your soul pushing you towards more authentic connections that are aligned with your awakened self. Finally, the fourth symptom is a growing aversion to useless information and superficial conversations. This is the signature of the revolutionary mind being activated. As your connection with your pioneering purpose deepens, your attachment to old ideas, to debates that lead nowhere, and to mental exchanges that do not nourish your soul, diminishes. You may look at your work, your projects, your friendships, and feel an emptiness if they are based on superficial communication. This feeling is not a sign of ingratitude, but of evolution. It is your system being rebooted, being realigned with a definition of wealth that includes purpose, connection, and contribution. It is the portal inviting you to build a life that is not only intelligent, but also sacred. Feeling the new frequency, the vivid dreams, and the sudden insights is the first step. But the energy of Uranus and Neptune is not a spectacle to be passively watched. It is an invitation to co-creation. A visionary is not someone who just sees the future. It is someone who learns to anchor that energy in the present, to serve as a bridge between potential and reality. What follows is not a to-do list to overwhelm you, but a manual of practices for the visionary. 3 disciplines to train your soul to become a potent antenna and a clear channel for the energy of the new that is being born. The first practice, the future's logbook. The logical mind, trained in the material world and the rules of the past, has a powerful defense mechanism against the visionary. It tends to dismiss Uranus's insights as crazy ideas and Neptune's intuitions as pure imagination. It catalogues what is new and unprecedented as unreal or impossible. Therefore, the first and most crucial act of a visionary is to create a sacred record for these whispers of the future, to give them validity and honor before the skeptical mind can censor and erase them. The practice is to consecrate a notebook or a digital document as your future's logbook. Your only task during this period when the portal is active is to record without filter and, most importantly, without judgment, all the downloads you receive. This includes several categories of information. First, the sudden ideas. Write down those ideas that arrive at strange moments, in the shower, washing dishes, on a walk, and that seem to solve a personal or even collective problem in a completely new and original way. Do not worry about the how of implementing them now. Just capture the essence of the vision. Second, the vivid dreams. Write down your dreams with as much detail as you can as soon as you wake up, especially the emotions they evoked and the symbols that repeated. They are the direct language of Neptune, your subconscious processing the new frequency and communicating with you in a non-linear way. Third, the synchronicities. Record the significant coincidences that happen. The person who called you, the exact moment you were thinking of them. The book that fell off the shelf and contained the answer to your question. The word or number that you see repeatedly. This journal becomes your personal database of the new era. Over time, as you reread it, you will begin to see the patterns, the hidden messages, the common thread. You will realize that the crazy ideas are, in fact, the chapters of your future being written. This act of recording is not passive. It is an act of telling the universe, with total clarity, I am listening, I am taking this seriously, keep talking to me. The second practice, the network connection. The energy of Uranus, whose modern ruler is Aquarius, and Neptune is inherently collective and transpersonal. A visionary alone can have an idea, but it is the network, the soul tribe, that transforms the vision into a new reality. Isolating yourself with your new and perhaps strange insights is the quickest way to let them die for lack of oxygen. Validation, collaboration, and resonance with others who are on the same frequency are what the vision needs to breathe and gain strength. The second practice is not about networking in the traditional calculating sense. It is about energetically opening yourself up to find your soul tribe. Your task is to take one small step to connect with people or communities that resonate with your new frequency, with your new worldview. It can be something simple, like finally joining that online group on a topic that has sparked your curiosity, be it astrology, sustainability, digital art, or quantum spirituality. It could be finally going to that yoga class, that meditation circle, or that lecture in your city that you've been putting off. It could be, even more directly, sharing one of the insights from your journal with a trusted friend and observing their reaction. The goal is not to convince anyone or convert anyone to your vision. The goal is to find resonance. It is to find the others who are also listening to the same music as you. By connecting, you create a force field. Your ideas are validated, expanded, and refined by those of others. You realize that you are not alone in your weirdness. The energy of Uranus and Neptune reminds us that the next phase of evolution will not be led by isolated gurus, but by networks of consciousness. And it is in this union of visionaries that the foundation for the new culture, for the new way of living, is truly built one connection at a time. The third practice, the fertile silence. Finally, we arrive at the most paradoxical and perhaps the most potent practice of all. To be able to hear the high-frequency transmission of Uranus and Neptune, you must first learn to turn off the low-frequency noise of the world and of your own mind. The channel only becomes clear and crystalline in the silence. The third practice is to cultivate fertile silence. It is not an empty, boring silence, but a space of active receptivity. Commit to deliberately creating small windows of silence in your day. It could be by turning off the music or podcast in the car while driving to work. It could be by taking a walk without your headphones. And, most powerfully of all, it could be by setting aside 10 minutes of your day to sit in a chair with no phone, no book, no anything, and simply do nothing. Just observe the world around you, or close your eyes and observe your own breath. At first, your mind, addicted to stimuli, will protest. It will give you a list of 1,000 more important things to do. Just observe this resistance without judgment. These 10 minutes of silence are like an oasis in the desert of modern life's overstimulation. It is in this silence, when your brain stops obsessively processing the past and the present, that it finally opens up to receive information about the future. Silence is your reception room for the cosmic messengers. By practicing it, you become not just a visionary who has ideas, but a conscious channel for the wisdom of the new era that is being born. And so, the crossing through the portal is complete. You have not only felt the symptoms of the new frequency, you have learned to decode its architecture and its history. And most importantly, you have practiced the disciplines of the visionary. You recorded the whispers of your soul, opened yourself to your tribe of consciousness, and cultivated the fertile silence necessary to hear the future. By doing this, you have ceased to be a passive spectator of this immense generational change and have become an active participant. You are no longer just being moved by the wave, you have learned to surf it. If you are awake, this is the moment to anchor the future. Remember the most important truth of this portal. Today is the official activation, the moment when the door opens with its maximum force. But the portal itself, the influence of this alignment, remains active for months, even years. The work does not end today, it begins today. You are not just witnessing history, you are being invited to co-create it. The vision you received in a dream, the idea you jotted down in your journal, the connection you began to make, these are your tools, your bricks to build a piece of the new era, first within yourself and then in the world. This is your summons, your mission. The future is not something that simply happens to us. It is a frequency we choose to tune into and anchor through our daily actions. If this message about the visionary portal has resonated with your soul and awakened you to your role in this turning point, anchor your mission. Like this video, share it with another visionary soul who needs to hear this call, and declare your commitment to the new in the comments. I anchor the future, and don't forget to subscribe so we can continue to build together, one insight at a time.